I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the most dangerous game after show here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm your girl, Trina Dong, and of course, couldn't do this without my partner in crime, the one and only Amir Yasai. Hi, Amir.
Hi, Trina. The most dangerous game. What a title.
Whoa, what an everything. I'm excited to talk about the show that I never thought I would watch, but I'm glad that I did. So we're going to talk about how the show even opened, what the show is about. We're going to talk about the hunters. We're going to talk about the wild twists that happened. And there was a very unexpected ending that we're also going to get into. Amir's got some news about Quibi and about the show. So let's get right into it. I just want to know overall thoughts. Tell me what you think.
Well, yeah, that's a great question, Trina. I mean, much like you, I never really thought I'd watch this show, but I kind of got stuck into the whole Quibi promotion game. And I was washing dishes and I had like 8 minutes. And I was, what am I going to do? So I popped on Most Dangerous Game and then I got hooked. I think right off the bat, it's like an adult version of Hunger Games. It's like Liam Hemsworth is always chased by someone looking great. It's amazing. It's amazing. And he hasn't even aged at all. So it was great. And to see like Chris Christopherson, I mean, such a great cast of people. I was just like shook.
Yeah, so absolutely. Great. Watching, I have seen very few Chris Hemsworth movies. I won't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So
Liam Hemsworth. Liam.
No, this is Chris. Oh, is it Liam? Yes, it's Liam. Sorry.
It's okay.
I have not seen very many Liam Hemsworth movies, literally aside from the one with him and Miley, and of course the Hunger Games movies. So this was interesting because he was acting in this movie. So I thought that was interesting. And Christoph Waltz being in a Quibi show, that had me shook a little bit. So
yes, I said Christopherson. Christoph Waltz. We're messing up their names.
That's already. Okay. That's okay. There's a lot of moving parts in this show, so it makes sense. But yeah, Christoph Waltz being in a Quibi show was unexpected, but he definitely got his job done. That is for sure. Absolutely. So let's talk about the opening. I personally, before I started, I did not read anything about the show. All I saw was the photo of him in a suit or whatever it was. And I was like, yes, please. That's good marketing. I will watch that. But didn't know anything about the game that was about to be played. What did you think during the first entire episode where they laid out the health issues and then the presentation that Christoph Waltz's character made? What did you think when you started it?
Right off the bat, I was like, I feel like this is that movie with Michael Douglas where it's like a game of chess and there's like all these rich people and they're kind of hunting each other. This trope of like rich people hunting people is like been done before, but I liked it right off the bat where it was like, okay, it's not just hunting anyone. It's like someone that's desperate and we're going to give you money every hour. I was like, the pitch, it kind of got me. I was like, I like this. This is interesting. I mean, he's going to lose his life anyway. Why not jump in and make some money for his family? And then when you kind of go and you see the broken step and then, like maybe he needs some help. And then you hear the full story about him and his investors. And then you kind of start feeling for him. But I also felt like, I didn't feel like his life was dire enough where he would do this. Like, I don't think that the stakes were high enough for me as a viewer. I was like, they're still living in a nice house in the suburbs. So I was the stakes weren't high enough for me.
Yeah, I felt like he really thought that there was going to be no money in the future with what he left behind. And that amount of money I think it leaked over probably into the second episode too, how much money it was going to be and how it was actually going to get in the account.
Right.
But it seems way too sketchy you wouldn't take, I know that's millions and millions, like in the 20s of millions of dollars, but you would never. So that got me that he felt that his life was so desperate. And I felt that for him, that he felt that way. I just didn't know why he felt that way. And so I thought that whole part was very interesting because it's a question that they're posing kind of to everyone, right? Like,
right.
would you do it?
Right.
Would
like,
you
what's
do
your
it,
price?
Amir? You wouldn't do it.
I don't
If
know
your
if I would.
stakes were where his were.
I mean, the problem with it is that like, I think that if you're sick and you are like feeling sick and you can't keep up, I just think it's odd that you would then play a game where you're being hunted. Like, I don't know if I would be able to survive as long as he did, obviously. Like, I think the first hour, it seemed like we were going to lose him. And then he kind of started to pick up the pace. But I don't know. It's just Christoph, he's saying Christoph. Christoph Waltz, right?
Waltz,
Christoph
yeah.
Waltz. Yeah. So he painted too good of a picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the pitch was too good. And in my opinion, if the pitch is too good, it's some shady stuff is going down. So I didn't trust it. I didn't really trust it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It was definitely, no one that's offering that to you is telling the truth.
No, absolutely not.
And he felt that too, because he was like, I'm leaving, you're insane, I'm gonna call the cops.
Right.
But then what happened? He went back and he agreed to play the freaking game. Of course he was going to, because that was episode 2 of 15. But when he agreed to it and it just suddenly started at this diner, I was so afraid for what I was afraid for him while this stuff was about to happen. What did you think when he kind of shot up at the diner and just ran, and his first choice was a bus?
Not a good idea. Not a good idea. And when that guy sat next to him, I was like, this is the guy. Like, this is it. And I love that he was paranoid enough and he trusted his gut, which I think the character really trusts his gut throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
So he's very good about being like, this person's off, I'm gonna run out. But I think what they do, their writing technique is so smart to have that countdown, because otherwise you would be like, okay, it's been an hour or 2 or 5. Like, so with the countdown, you're like, okay, they're gonna find him in 15 seconds, like go. And so it's like an Amber Alert. So it like got me in the story. Every time I was kind of like, I'm a little distracted because I wasn't watching it like this. I was like doing other stuff. So every time they got me back was with the countdown. I was either washing dishes or cleaning. And I know a lot of people watching Quibi are doing that. So I think they do a good job bringing you in with some of those, writing devices. Yeah.
For sure. And also watching Christoph at their headquarters, watching them. Like watching the hunter and watching his character just kind of run around and how close everyone is. So let's talk about the hunters.
Yes.
So the first one we meet that we don't know is a hunter, but we find out much later, is the guy with the lunchbox on the bus.
Yeah, the guy with the crazy hair, the mullet.
Yeah. So that was obvious to me that he was coming back. The one that really threw me off was the dad from Twilight.
The dad from Twilight, is it Billy
Crudup?
I know,
Crudup, right?
Crudup. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So the dad from Twilight, and he had this wild accent, and he was dressed a little bit like an urban cowboy. And he kept coming back, but like acting very like he was the flippant one of all of these hunters. Like, you didn't know what he was going to do, and he also didn't care what he was going to do. Like the other people, the guy in the suit that was the main hunter, the one that clearly does this, but he clearly also wants to keep himself safe. So he's traveling in a dope car with a driver, and he's not really running the streets alone. And then we have the girl that surprised us on the ship.
I liked her.
Me too. I was a little upset there was only one girl, because I felt like he alluded, it's not just men, it's women as well. So I wanted more of that, because I thought she was the most shocking. She was sweet,
I agree.
right?
Yeah, she was very sweet. And you know when I knew Trina she was the hunter was when she wasn't shocked by his scars.
Yeah.
Because she was like, oh, the buffet's that way. And I was like, if you worked there, you would have been like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, do you need anything? So that kind of gave it away for me. Yeah.
Who was your favorite hunter?
You know who was my favorite? I think that I just have to say the guy with the driver, because I felt like it was so chic to be like such a crazy assassin. And I think that like my second choice would be the girl. I just wish the hunters were a little more Kill Bill and a little less like a traditional movie. They needed to up the ante, because we have like 7 minutes to like them. I wish they would have had like I don't know, like an old school weapon or like some
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like some kind of crazy makeup, I don't know, like anime, like kind of take it up a notch. I felt like they were kind of lacking.
Yeah, because that guy's character, it looked like he had like a meat thermometer as his weapon. Yeah. I was like, and then guns came into play. But they had originally said in the rules, no guns.
Right.
So was he allowed to have a gun?
Well, I think the gun thing was an accident, right? Because the whole gang situation, right? So when he got trapped by the gang, which I didn't really understand. Can you clear that up for me? Like, how did he get involved with the gang? How did they get him all of a sudden? I was so confused.
They got him because he was running around acting crazy, and he looked like he was going to hurt people.
Oh, so the gang.
Yeah, that's what I got from it. So they captured him up, and they're like, "What are you getting into? What's your business? Why are you in our neighborhood?" And then I believe at the end of that scene, it was thanks to them that he made it out.
Yeah.
So,
they kind of sacrificed themselves for his, like, because all of a sudden it was like a gun, it was a gun barrage, and they had so much going on in that scene. But you know who's my favorite, Trina, out of all this whole show is the fixer guy with the briefcase. I love him.
The fixer guy.
The one that works for Kristoff, that just shows up and cleans things up and gets rid of bodies. I love him. I think he's so funny. He's like, "Hey there," and he's like running down the hallway. I'm like, what the hell?
He's a nightmare. Yeah. Because of the way he taught. Like, he is the guy. That's kind of what you're talking about, right? Just like weirder, quirkier type folks.
Exactly. Bring that up a bit more. They could have turned up the ante a little bit. I feel like the hunters were like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Louisiana, like, I'm Black, I'm a woman." Like that's not interesting enough. Like, I wish that like the woman had, like, I don't know, Death Stars that she was throwing, or like there was something in her hair, or like an explosive wig. I mean, like, they could have really gone there, and I feel like they missed an opportunity.
I think the scariest scene for me was when he was in the church. And that was so scary. And then he ended up prevailing somehow and locking that man up. I thought that was so scary. And then after, when your boy showed up and said, "This is how this is going to go. You're going to stay here for basically forever. And then when you get out, you're here from Nigeria," he says. And it's like, wait, what? Like,
what is going on?
But I thought that was crazy. I thought that was the end, that there was no way out for him. Which hunting scene did you think was the wildest?
That's a great question. I think for me, oh my God, there were so many crazy scenes. But I think that church scene for me was the scariest too, because I felt like that confessional, he was so at the mercy. And then when the guy was walking under, you could see the shadow. I was like, oh my God, it's him. And then for a second, I was like, okay, I trust the Nigerian that was the priest. I was like, I trust him. He seems nice. But then I was like, he's a little too nice. He's way too nice. I need to like reassess. The whole time you're like, who do I trust? Who, like, and then there was also a scene with weren't they like in the factory? There was like bullets and fire, and like that scene was crazy towards the end. So we'll get to that, but that was also one of my favorite.
Yeah, you're right. When the priest was right there looking to be saving him, like, he got me. I thought he was gonna be fine, but then everybody does a turn in this show. Oh, I lost my thought. There was another hunter I was going to talk about. I don't remember now, but I think that all of these, there's just no way that this man would have survived all of these physical ailments. Like, there was so much blood, so much bludgeon, and I felt like it was unrealistic. Don't you? That he went through all of those things in, like, and I know we call it 24 hours, but I feel like a lot of it happened pretty quick.
Right.
What do you think? Do you think that was, for a show like this, call it a movie, basically was one movie. But for a show like this, do you think that was realistic, how they played that? Or do you think it was just fit in with the genre?
I think it's hard because, like, when we get to news, we'll talk more about this, but they saw it as a movie in chapters. And the problem with putting a movie in chapters is it becomes a TV show and it lacks the jointedness. Because the whole point, the reason we watch a TV show is because we fall in love with the characters one by one. But if you're watching this like 4 back to back, it then just feels like you just pushed pause on a movie while you're still in it. So when you come back, you're like, wait, what happened in the first 4 parts of the movie? So you get kind of confused a little bit. So I think that my kind of thing with what they did with the time, I felt like was where they lost the audience, because you're, like you said, it's supposed to be 24 hours, but then the episodes are 7 minutes. So they're speeding up an hour, and it feels like, wait a second, how would his body like come back from that? Like, scenes for me that felt the most grounded and real was when he was talking to the guy that was running the hot dog stand. He was like, give me water right now. Like, effing thirsty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to need something. You're going to need sustenance. Like, those scenes where, for example, or he got beat up and then the police officer was like, what is going on? Like, that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, okay, this is rooted in reality. Because a lot of action movies, like, they do crazy shit and the cops are like, la, la, la. Like, nobody cares. Whereas if you beat someone up in the middle of the street, people, even in New York, would be like, wait, what's going on? Like, you're bleeding. So some of those scenes felt a little like not realistic to me. Like when he was at the fair and he's like bleeding from every orifice and people are like okay, no.
It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Someone's going to comment. So
yeah, I think the smoothest move is when he was at was it a hockey game? A sporting event, and he just put all of the clothes on to fit in with those giant crowds. I thought that was the most realistic and like breathing moment that he had the whole time. For sure.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to these twists. So the majority of the show really was just us watching him run away from all of these different hunters. And so that's pretty much what we did for the first, 13 episodes, 12 or 13 episodes. And then after that, we got some twists. So I want to start off with the best friend. So the best friend, he was said to be involved. And then Liam's character found out that he was involved and then told his wife. But then in the end, wasn't actually involved.
I know, I didn't get that. I was like, what?
That confused me. And I thought that took up time, unnecessary time, because we were like, oh, it's him, but he's not really showing anything. He's not showing like us to be fearful of him. Is that that's how you felt too?
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't agree with, like, I don't think that was a good writing device, because like you said, it took up too much time. And then it was like, oh, now he's good. It's like, wait a second. Like, if you owed this guy money and it's 50 grand that he really needs, it would make sense to make him kind of like go against you. I think they just should have had him go against him and then apologize and be like, I really needed the money. Like, I'm desperate, like whatever. And then maybe like he would have forgiven him. Liam Hemsworth would have forgiven him. That would have been fine. But what the issue that I had with it was that he had him with the wife. And there was a scene where the wife's like on the phone and he's like, okay, don't tell my friend. And he started to get kind of evil, but then nothing came from that. Like the best friend pretended to be evil and then rescued him later. I was like, wait, what is going on? Like that just didn't make sense to me. And the wife was kind of like, I was like, girl, just stay put. But then I thought about it. I was like, I'm sorry, you're pregnant, you have hormones, you're worried about your person. And then boom, like, he's like, you're getting millions of dollars. So I kind of thought where she was coming from, but I'm like, girl, you're going to get arrested. Like,
she was bold.
Very bold.
So her main twist is when she came through, got captured by the fake police and then sat down with Christoph Waltz and then just smacked him. Did not care about what was going on around her. That was clearly way scarier than she thought it was, because she smacked him, and I thought that was bold, but that was deserved. So he expected it, and he didn't hurt her, which is what I was afraid of.
No, I don't think he would, because there's something about Christoph's character that has a lot of principle, right? It's like, it's a very principle. The game is not just like a wild goose chase. It's like very organized, and it's very like, okay, you can't use guns, you can't kill, you can't do in that time frame, you can't be killing them in the time frame. There's like all these rules, and I think that keeps the game kind of up to par. But I wanted to ask you about one thing about the wife. Like, I feel like in most situations, like within like 2 hours of not seeing someone, you wouldn't go so haywire. I felt like she got too anxious too quickly. It was like a couple hours, and it was like, he's missing. Like, I didn't get that.
I think because she, maybe, but she also, the money was weird, right? Because the money, she saw 50K right away.
Right.
And she was like,
right.
What's happening?
Right.
And then I don't remember exactly, but did she know that he had left in the morning?
I don't know. That's the thing that I like. There were some things that they did like that where you missed, like even the whole brick thing. It was like, we're gonna keep coming back to this broken brick, but I'm like, you have a perfectly perfect house.
Yeah.
Like some of the disconnect there, like when did he leave? And then you keep bringing up this brick that it's making us feel bad.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not enough, you know? Like I
No.
think that the most scared I was, you know, with the biggest twist for me was when the Nigerian hunter came and he was on the motorcycle and he was like, later was like, I know where you live. I will take her out. I was like, oh, that to
no.
me was scarier because
Yeah.
she's not involved, you know? And like when she saw the guy on the motorcycle and then saw Liam and then that whole scene, I was like, why did you bring her into it?
Yeah,
Like,
because now she's like a part of it when before like she wasn't even in the rules.
Right.
Dramatic. Okay, so
Very
probably the biggest twist is when we find out that it was all a scam from the beginning and he's not even sick.
Whew. That was a lot.
I was like, y'all just convinced this man like very thoroughly. So somebody drugged him, made him have these insane headaches. We got him to the doctor.
Right.
We somehow got the doctor x-rays or CAT scans of a giant unreachable tumor.
Right.
And then that's fake? Like,
I was like, what?
Whoa. And I get that he's a total con artist and he could pull this off.
Right.
But what? Like, that was insane to me. And it made me it made me go, wait.
What?
So Liam just did this for no reason too. And I'm watching and now I'm like completely out of it because I'm so confused.
Absolutely.
That's how I felt.
Agreed. That's when I stopped watching, Trina. I think that's when I was like, I need to take a step back from the show and like take a moment and then come back to it because I felt like, you know, when writers do this, it kind of lets down the audience. It's like, it's as if you did like a movie like Jaws and then you were like, well, the shark's fake. It's like, we have no stakes in it. Like, I don't have a stake in it anymore. Like, he's not doing this to get, like, he's not sick anymore. So he's just getting this money to pay back investors. Like, that's not worth dying for. I don't know.
Exactly.
I just felt like the stakes I don't know. It took me out of the story and I felt like it's not something that, I don't know. I just felt like, I was like, this seems just maniacal now. It doesn't seem principled or cool anymore. It just seems maniacal. Yeah.
Because we're not watching him do anything for anyone. We're watching him almost lose his own life. And yes, there's money involved, but like he's not sick.
Right.
So like he would have maybe gotten maybe not that much money, but enough money to survive. Like why
he was smart. He was smart.
So
he got a job offer too, you know? He got a job offer. Like it's like he's smart. He pitched things, he's young. Like he would have gotten this money together. But really what annoyed me about that whole situation is that like we as the viewer were so invested and then we were like kind of liking Christoph Waltz and now we're like, wait a second. He's like a con artist and a murderer. Like he's no longer likable. That kind of bummed me out.
Yeah, because it appeared to be so honest in the pitch. Because everything was so insane that you're like, oh, this like couldn't be worse.
Absolutely.
And so his pitch was a lie. So it's like, what are we even here for?
No, really, what are we here for? And another thing I wanted to say about this real quick is like that really annoyed me was that like at first it was like, okay, he's empowered. Like, yes, he might lose his life, but he's doing it for his kid and his wife and, you know, to pay back his best friend. But then after that, it's just like, we're just watching someone commit suicide essentially. Like,
100%
which
it's
is
all
a bummer.
for naught. It's a total bummer because there's no like there's no redemption. There's just like, it's all bad. Except for we have the ending. Let's talk about the ending. So this chase went all day, got pretty far, and it was basically over. He was hanging from a building. Like that was gonna be it. The man had his meat thermometer about to take
Why does
him
he
out.
have that?
I don't know. It's just like a pokey meat thermometer, and he was about to be gone. But then sunrise came. And he literally just lifted him back up onto the 100-story building and said, whatever he said that equaled good game or good run or something like that.
He said good game, I think. Good game, good run. Something like that. Something very bro-y.
And just, it was over. And so we kind of come to find that like he is actually probably the cleanest game player of all of those hunters, I would say. because the other people, like you said, we were running after wives, we were doing all that sorts of stuff. And then Sunrise came, and this guy, you know, what did you think about the ending? Did that help? Did that hurt? What did you think?
I mean, it definitely didn't help. But before we get to the ending, I just wanted to ask you about what you thought of. I thought this was probably, in my opinion, the best writing of the whole series was when they had the hunters. He kind of like fleshed them out and had them come to his dad's old factory. I thought that was very. It had like a message. It had like a, this is where we used to come and kind of mess around with girls and be in puberty. And it's like home court advantage. And I think that was good writing. He had them come to him. He knew how to get around that building, and he took them out. So and then that guy lit up like, you know, a gator in the Everglades on fire.
On actual fire. That was like the second or third fire that happened. He set on people on fire on the ship too.
Yep, he did. And it was a lot of that. So I was like, that's odd. And then so I thought that was a cool writing device, and I thought that was really neat. But as far as the ending goes, once again, if I saw this in the theater, I would have been like, what the heck? Because again, you led me on this ride. You're calling yourself a movie. It's not a TV show. And then you're leaving me with this like, what was the ending? It was just like good show. And I just feel like even if at the end of the day, even if this guy had principles, he's at the edge of the tape, like just push him off. Like it's just, it didn't like, I don't know. For me, I just felt like it didn't have the same ring. And then I feel like, unfortunately, the show didn't like laugh at itself. Because even in the last scene when Kristoff was looking at that booklet, they could have put a picture of Chris Hemsworth. It was such a great opportunity to have some humor, have some fun.
There you go.
Know what
that
I
would
mean?
Be funny, yeah.
Like something, instead of just like a random guy we don't know. It could have been an opportunity to have some humor, have some fun. Like the people that are watching Quibi are in a certain like Gen Z millennials. They don't need a show that's so like dignified at the end. I just felt like it just didn't really ring true for me.
I felt like it's interesting because we watched so many people die basically the whole time again for not sure why. No reason why. And then at the very end, like it shows that it is a game. Hunger Games is pretty much it. You're right.
Pretty much.
And, like just in the city in 2020. But then him just like ending it like that and just being like, okay, good game. It was just I was upset because
I didn't love it. There was such a great opportunity where he could have even been picked up by a helicopter, Trina, or something dramatic. Like if he's gonna play the Bond villain, like we want to see that. So like either a helicopter or he jumps off and he's wearing a parachute, like something like him walking away and then taking the stairs. I'm like, y'all let me down a little bit. The ending just wasn't dramatic enough, you know?
Yeah, or dramatic in a very different way than that could have left us like with something. I felt we were just left with like, we got betrayed.
Yeah, a little bit. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like to me. And I thought I was being dramatic because I'm in quarantine, but I was like, this feels like a little bit of a betrayal. And I mean, even the guy, the well-dressed villain guy at the end, he could have even maybe talked to the belly, like said like, maybe I'll see your kid in a game or something. It's like something maniacal. Like if you're hunting human beings, you're not going to be nice at the end, even if that's the rules.
Yeah.
So it kind of was lost on me. It was a little lost on me.
Whew. All right. I mean, that's basically the show.
Yeah.
That is the show in its entirety. And, you know, we watched a good like game, I guess. And we're glad that Liam Hemsworth's character at least got some benefits from this instead of losing his life, but still very complicated. And I think I'll always feel that way.
Agreed. And we just still don't know what happened with the friend. Like we never saw him again. So like, did the friend betray you or not? Like I'm still confused about that.
Yeah, a little confused. Well, let's move on to the news because I know there's more to talk about. What do you got?
So they Vulture wrote a recap of the Most Dangerous Game, and they also spoke about Quibi as well. They were not very nice. They did not mince words. They really kind of laid into Quibi and they laid into the show because the show is pitched as movie in chapters. So the article in Vulture was saying like, then just do a movie, like sell your movie to Netflix. Like you don't need to be on Quibi like broken up in that way because the platform really lends itself to a TV show that you can break up in 7 minutes. A movie, it just feels like you wasted time on these great actors and you didn't give them time to breathe. So someone like Christoph Waltz, an Oscar winner, Liam Hemsworth has been in great box office movies. You didn't give them time to breathe. And I felt like, unfortunately, because you didn't give these kind of like big actors time to breathe, the people that stood out to me and the article agreed, was the best friend, was the wife, because they had less scenes, so they were a lot more like able to engage. Or all of like, I liked the Hunters more than Liam Hemsworth because they had dimension. We saw them ever so often. So yeah, they were kind of laying into Quibi, and Quibi has been having a lot of issues. Like initially they gave you a 3-month subscription and now it's only 14 days. So they kind of like held their nose up at YouTube, but now they're streaming a lot of their shows on YouTube. You know, the whole thing is the like vertical platform. Unfortunately, like according to the article, and I agree, there was moments where it being vertical was kind of a disservice to those kind of B-rolls and the scenes that were very dramatic. Like even the scene with him on the ledge, I watched that in horizontal because I wanted to see it more,
of course, yeah,
beautifully, but it wasn't, unfortunately. It was still cropped. So the whole thing is cropped for vertical, so it doesn't really do you a service to watch it like that. So it's just, I felt like there was so many, and there was like a joke online, there was a meme that said, you know, they needed one person in the room to be like, sorry, Jeffrey Katzenberg, this isn't landing. And there wasn't anyone because they wanted their job, you know? So
yeah.
I think, you know, ironically, the most dangerous game is these executives trying to leave Quibi. That's the true most dangerous game. So, but I mean, listen, they're doing something different, and a lot of times it's hard to do something different. But I think they really kind of nailed it, and I was here for it. Like the way that listen, at the end of the day, there was a lot of holes in this show, but it entertained me, you know, for what it was.
Right. I mean, we definitely watched it. And as far as Quibi goes, maybe this specific like movie and chapter situation is not the one.
Yeah.
And maybe it is like the game shows that work and the smaller talking head shows. But yeah, this one was hard to get a grip on for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's what we got for the Dangerous Game after show. Thanks everybody for watching. Amir, where can all of the viewers find you?
Yes, you can find me at AmirYas_ on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, honey.
Yay.
Love y'all. Mwah.
And y'all can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Trina Dong. Thank you so much for tuning in to the most dangerous game after show on AfterBuzz TV. We will see y'all later. Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.